Welcome to the SJS site induction. Please give your full attention to the presentation and the information given to you by your SJS representative. This induction is provided to give you a general overview of the project itself and to help ensure your safety while you are working on the site. Every operative is expected to work in a manner that does not put themselves or any other personnel on site at risk. SJS take our duty as principal contractors seriously. SJS will provide welfare facilities and general overview supervision to all subcontractors and their operatives attending site. Each subcontractor will provide a supervisor in charge of their own teams. If you have arrived on site for the first time today, please provide a site supervisor with a hard copy of your risk assessment and method statement for the work you are contracted to carry out. This must be signed by you to state that you have read and understood your RAMs and will work to the criteria set out within them. SJS must be satisfied that you have the correct skills, knowledge and experience to work on our site. As part of the induction process, there is a site induction form to complete. This will give the site management team information on the training you have received and allow them to assess that you have the correct skills, knowledge and experience. Please consider the information displayed on the slide and complete the form honestly and accurately. Mandatory PPE for this site is hard hat, high visibility jacket or vest, safety boots, eye protection, this can be safety glasses or a visor, and gloves. Both eye protection and gloves must be suitable to provide protection from any risks your works produce and must be worn at all times on the site. It may be identified in your safe system of work that RPE is required as a control. For example, where construction dust is being produced through cutting or grinding, or where social distancing cannot be maintained. Some examples of RPE are shown on the screen. The minimum standard on this site for general use is FFP2 or N95. Reusable RPE must be cleaned and stored correctly and never shared with others. Disposable RPE must be disposed of correctly by the user in bins provided. RPE must be provided by your employer and masks must be face fitted for the individual and certification provided to the SJS site team. There are 6 main SJS site rules. These are: 1. All operatives must be inducted and complete the site induction form before entering the site. This is to ensure that you have the basic knowledge of this project that will allow you to stay safe on site. 2. All incidents and issues must be reported without delay to the SJS site supervisors. This allows us to put measures in place to stop a similar incident occurring. This also ensures long-term safety on site and can highlight a risk that has not been identified previously. Incidents including property or equipment damage are just as important as incidents where an injury has been sustained. 3. All work areas must be kept tidy. It is every individual's responsibility to clear up waste generated by their activities. Good housekeeping is imperative if a site is to be kept safe. Take pride in your work and the area you're working in. 4. All work equipment coming to site must be registered with a site supervisor and in a safe condition. The equipment must be subject to pre-use inspection with a formal record inspection once every 7 days. A plant and equipment register of all items being brought to site, including power tools and ladders by you, must be given to the site supervisor at the start of every working week. The SJS site supervisor has registers that can be used if you do not have one. 5. Mobile device use is restricted to authorised persons and official breaks. Mobile phones should only be used in designated areas and at break times. Mobile devices cause distraction and distractions can cause accidents. 6. It is expected that everyone associated with SJS projects behave professionally with proper consideration for work colleagues, our client, neighbouring properties and residents. While you are on site, your behaviour reflects on your own company and on SJS. Unsafe or unprofessional behaviour will not be tolerated and may result in you being removed from site. This site contains many of the common site hazards mentioned on the slide. If you are unsure or have concerns about any area on site where you believe there is an uncontrolled risk, stop work and alert the site supervisor. All working at height equipment must be in good condition, have a valid inspection record and be suitable for the task, the environment it is being used in and the duration it is to be used for. All operatives will be expected to use their equipment in a safe and correct manner. Housekeeping is to be kept to a high standard and walkways are to be kept clear of obstruction at all times. Any spillages must be cleaned immediately and the site supervisor alerted. All trailing cables are to be secured at the edges of walkways or at height. Temporary lighting is not to be moved from its position to be used as task lighting. This is to allow the trailing cables to be managed in a controlled manner. No work should be undertaken out with the site footprint without prior planning and correct controls in place. Mechanical aids are to be used where possible to alleviate the risk of carrying out manual handling. Any manual handling using aids or not must have a risk assessment and method statement that takes the principles of tile, task, individual, load and environment into consideration. SJS do not allow live working with electricity on site. An electrical permit to work must be applied for when working with electrical components to ensure it is being carried out safely. This will be provided by the SJS site supervisor on a shift-by-shift basis. SJS will have all information regarding asbestos within the site. Areas where asbestos containing materials are present will either be removed prior to works beginning, or if they are not going to be disturbed by our works, they will be left in place and all operatives made aware of their locations. All areas where a specific risk exists will have clear signage posted to warn of the hazard. Any controls in place must not be altered without the specific authorization of the site supervisor. If your RAMs do not cover these works, risk assessment and method statement templates are available to make alterations. Any alterations must be communicated to all operatives carrying out the task. As well as increasing mandatory PPE requirements, SJS have implemented additional controls to mitigate the risk posed by the COVID-19 virus. To assist in controlling the risk, you will be asked to comply at all times with the controls. Social distancing of 2 meters must be maintained where possible. If this distance cannot be achieved and there are no other means to carry out the works, then the use of additional PPE, in this instance a face mask, must be implemented. Welfare facilities, work areas and pedestrian routes will be rearranged to accommodate these requirements. Specific instruction will be given for this site by the site team. Maintaining hygiene is vital. SJS have installed hand sanitisation stations on site and where necessary, the welfare facilities can be used to wash your hands. This should be done on entry to site and regularly throughout the day. You should clean down equipment or surfaces you have touched that others may touch, and you should use tissues to catch any sneezing, coughing or saliva. To help prevent the spread, follow the instructions for signing out controls and complete the health check and other questions accurately. If you have symptoms or have been in contact with anyone who has them, do not travel to site. Stay at home and seek medical help. If you become unwell whilst on site, remove yourself to an isolated area and make your supervisor and the SJS site team aware. Please follow all of the controls given on your site. Good dust control and general housekeeping are essential in ensuring a safe site. All equipment that produces dust must have suitable and sufficient dust extraction and collection methods. They must be in good condition and utilised at all times when equipment is in use. Any dust that is not collected by these systems must be vacuumed or dampened down before sweeping. Under no circumstances has dry sweeping to be carried out on site. Where your works are likely to create an excessive amount of dust, demolition works for example, natural ventilation or mechanical dust extraction systems must be used to control the work environment. All PPE and RPE must be worn where applicable, and this should be included within your RAMs for the work. When storing materials, equipment and waste, we must consider our surroundings and ensure that everything is carried out in a safe manner. Designated storage areas for waste and materials will be given by the site management team, and these must be adhered to. All accidents and near misses must be reported to the SJS site supervisor as soon as reasonably possible. An accident or near miss does not just mean if an injury has been sustained or if there was a possibility of injury occurring. Damage to property or equipment also constitutes an accident. For example, drilling into a water pipe would be regarded as an accident as damage has been caused to both the pipe and the possibility of water damage to the local area around the incident. Should an accident occur, there are certain steps to follow. Call for a first aider. Their names and contact details are on the health and safety boards in the welfare area. If required, the emergency services will be called. If you are able to attend to the injured person, do so, but only if you are fully trained in first aid and if doing so does not put you at any risk. Make the area safe where possible and assist in any way you are instructed by the first aider on site. If you have witnessed the accident, you should report it to the SJS site supervisor and give an accurate statement of what happened. The SJS site supervisor will carry out an initial investigation and report to SJS Health and Safety Advisor, who will carry out a further investigation if deemed necessary. A near-miss incident can be defined as any event which, under slightly different circumstances, may have resulted in injury or ill health of people, or damage or loss to property, plant, materials, or the environment. Reporting near misses is vital in identifying issues that may have larger implications if they are allowed to repeat without controls being in place. As the image shows, for every 600 near misses that happen on sites across the country, it is estimated there will be one serious incident. In most cases, it is only down to timing or luck whether a near miss or an accident happens. By not reporting near misses, you're effectively endangering the next person who finds themselves in the same situation, and they might not be so lucky. Near misses should be reported in the same way as accidents by informing the SJS site supervisor of the incident, who will record it and investigate if required. SJS site supervisors are 3-day first aid trained and the lead fire wardens on site. It is expected that each subcontractor will provide a responsible person to engage with SJS as part of an emergency response team. On the induction form, you are asked to identify whether you are first aid trained or have had fire warden training. You may be asked to engage with the emergency response team if your company does not nominate a responsible person. If a fire or emergency does occur, you should sound the alarm by calling a first aider or sounding a fire alarm at the nearest call point. Only fight the fire if you're confident to do so and if you're not putting yourself at any increased risk by staying in position. The site supervisor will contact the emergency services if required. The emergency exits and call points are clearly identified on the site logistics. Make your work area safe, turn off equipment and leave by the nearest exit. Do not stop to collect any belongings. The muster point is shown on the site logistics and will be clearly signposted. The site supervisor will take a roll call at the muster point of all operatives and will instruct you on further actions to be taken. Should you feel confident to fight a fire and it does not put you at further risk, or you need to use a fire extinguisher to clear your escape route, you must be able to identify what fire you face and what extinguisher is suitable for that situation. The slide lists what type of extinguishers are suitable for each type of fire. Red is water and can be used on wood, paper and textile fires. Blue is powder and is used for liquid and electrical fires. Cream is foam and can only be used on liquid fires. Black is carbon dioxide and can be used on liquid and electrical fires. All staff, operatives and visitors are required to sign in and out of site every day or on the day they are visiting. This allows us to know who is on site should an emergency occur and that everyone is accounted for. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the signing in and out process has changed on our sites. A member of the SJS site team will manage the process on site. They will ask you your name and employer and will record your arrival time and the time you leave site. They will also ask you a series of questions relevant to the current COVID-19 outbreak that you must answer accurately. All access and egress points must never be left open and unattended at any time. Site security is everyone's responsibility. SJS will provide site welfare facilities. Their location is shown on the site logistics. They will consist of, as a minimum standard, a rest and messing area with access to drinking water, WC and washing facilities, first aid provision and the site offices. Eating and drinking is only permitted in designated areas. Smoking is only permitted in the designated smoking area and will only be permitted at official break times during the day. If you leave the site boundary to smoke, all waste must be disposed of in the correct manner. Health and safety communication boards are located in each working area and a main board located in the site welfare area. These boards will display statutory documentation, live permits to work for each area, PPE requirements and logistics for that area, and site emergency contact lists. It will also be used to reiterate any relevant quality and safety information regarding the area you are working in. Working at height is still one of the most common areas where accidents and injury occur. Each contractor is expected to control their own working at height systems in the way described on the slide and to keep a record of the equipment they bring onto site. The equipment records should be circulated to the site management team weekly. A valid risk assessment must be in place, reviewed and approved for all working at height tasks being carried out. This must be reviewed on a weekly basis or in the event of a significant change to circumstances on site. All portable mobile scaffold towers must be erected by a PASMA qualified operative and regularly inspected by them for the duration of its use. Working at height is to be carried out following the manufacturer's specifications and complying with the HSE guidance for best practice set out in HSG 150 Health and Safety in Construction, INDG 401 Working at Height Guidance and INDG 455 Safe Use of Ladders Guidance. Should you need to refresh your understanding of this information, it is available at the HSE Working at Height website. Anyone found to be working at height unsafely may be removed from site. On some sites, permits to work are required for several types of work. Examples would be hot works, electrical works, working in confined spaces, core cutting or drilling, machinery isolation and controlled access permits. In some circumstances, more than one permit to work may be required to carry out a task. For example, working on an electrical component whilst in a confined space. All permits are issued by the SJS site management team and will only be issued when RAMs for the task have been reviewed and approved and other criteria that may be required has been met. When work is completed, both the contractor and SJS site management must inspect the area and agree it has been left in a safe state. Permits to work are only valid for a single shift and each new shift will require to go through the process separately. Once issued, they must be posted on the relevant notice board. Whilst on site, it is expected that all operatives will carry out their works in a safe and professional manner. Should it be found that this has not been the case, then operatives will be subject to disciplinary action. This will take the form of either the yellow and red card system or handled directly by the site management team and recorded in the site diary. Should any incident be deemed a serious breach of health and safety or site rules, you may be dismissed from site immediately. No operative attending site under the influence of alcohol or drugs will be permitted access and will be banned from site. Should any operative be found to be consuming alcohol or using drugs whilst on site, they will be instantly dismissed from the site and banned from reattending. If you have the need for prescription medication whilst on site, please make the site team aware of this by noting it on your induction form or by speaking directly to the site management team after this induction. Where possible, SJS aim to reduce our work's impact on the environment. We aim to reuse or recycle as much of the waste from site, diverting as much as possible from landfill. All waste from this site will be collected as general waste and removed for general segregation and recycling off-site. Please use the bins provided for any waste you create on-site. Also, to aid in assessing our carbon footprint, we ask you to record on the induction form your travel method and approximate distance travelled each day to site. If you haven't already, Please complete the site induction form and return it to the SJS site supervisor. If you have any questions, the supervisor is available to take them. Thank you for your time and attention.